Yo, what's going on, guys? It's your boy, Atypical Security Guard. I want to thank you for joining me here at the Security Guard channel and today's Security Guard Radio podcast. This is episode 2. Guys, we had a great episode last night. We talked about the Will Smith situation and how security guards could take away 5 points from that whole debacle on how we can better service our clients and be better just overall guards in general. I want to keep that theme going today. Today we're going to talk about my top 5 things, right? My top 5 things that I think security guards have to stop doing in 2022. I wanted to do kind of an early beginning of the year talk about this, but I've been so busy. Guys, listen. I tried to hit my goals last year. I want to do kind of a retrospective on that as well, kind of go over the goals that I had set for myself for 2021. One of the goals that I had set for myself for 2022 was to get a house. By the end of this year, I wanted to be in my own home, and that actually came to fruition in February. So it happened a lot sooner than I thought, and I've been just kind of dealing with that, getting moved in, getting things set up, and getting the security around the home set up. So just really busy, but we're going to make it do what it do, and we're going to have this conversation today. So today's topic, again, 5 things that security guards need to stop doing in 2022. We're going to get right to it. Number 5 is no calls and no shows. Listen. If you're working in this industry, you guys know this is something that we deal with all the time, right? People that just don't show up for their shift, don't give any sort of warning, don't let anybody know, or they do let somebody know, and it's in such a short amount of time that we can't get coverage. Now, we're going to get into another issue that I have, which is going to be complaining. But this number 5 topic, this kind of leads to some of the problems that we all hear other guards complaining about, right? No call, no shows. Our clients, they are depending on us to be there. They're dependent on us to actually service these contracts. And when we don't show up, it puts everybody in a bad situation. Not only does it leave our clients, unsecure, right? But for the other officers, somebody has to pick up that shift. I can't tell you how many times I've had to stay late or had to get up and go and cover a shift for somebody that didn't show up. It doesn't just affect the client, it also affects the officers. And if people are working too much, they're getting burnt out, they're putting too much time in, they're burning that candle at both ends, it's detrimental to the entire team, right? So guys, one of the things that I would love to see more of a focus on, if you want to see yourself making more money, if you want to be taken more seriously as a security guard, if you want this profession to be looked at with more respect and with more prestige, you have to carry yourself like a professional, and you have to treat this like a career. And that means showing up. That means showing up when you're tired. That means showing up when you don't want to be there. It means showing up when you're having problems at home or you're having issues with your kids. It's following through. It's staying committed to the commitment that you've made. And that's one of the things that is so detrimental to our career, is just having officers call out at the drop of a hat, the drop of a dime. That's got to stop. Absolutely has to stop. Number 4 is overreacting. Now, guys, listen, this entire radio address is going to probably come off extremely critical, and I apologize in advance. But I have to be honest, and I have to say this with the tone that I feel it. It's so unprofessional the way officers are overreacting to the most minor, minuscule bullshit. And I see this every single day. Working in a large city like Portland, on every corner, there's a different security guard from a different company doing a different job. And I can't tell you how many times I see a homeless person or a drug addict or just your run-of-the-mill everyday Portlander that pops off at the mouth, says something disrespectful, does something disrespectful. And guys, listen, I get it. It's frustrating. Again, just like that situation we were talking about with Will Smith and Chris Rock, it's hard to get your ego challenged. It's hard to have your manhood questioned. I get that. But to the level that I see some officers responding, it's absolutely out of control. People that are talking back to an officer or popping off at the mouth, and the officer's deploying an ASP. Someone says something the wrong way and an officer is deploying pepper spray. Someone is doing something that is not necessarily illegal, or maybe it is illegal. Maybe it's a misdemeanor. Here in Portland, we had somebody that was at a Lowe's shopping center and allegedly stole 6 pallets, just 6 wooden pallets, okay? Followed out to the parking lot by a security officer. Words are exchanged, and this officer tries to block in the guy's truck with his security car. The guy then revs up his engine, and allegedly the security officer gets out of the car and unloads 6 shots into this guy's chest. Kills him right there on the spot over some fucking wooden pallets. A wooden pallet that's worth what, $1 a piece? That is an egregious overreaction that led to a homicide. In every situation, guys, I've said this so many times, these isolated incidents, specifically in today's day and age, they don't just affect the individual officer, they affect all of us. We're dead smack in the middle of a defund the police movement that has failed. And in areas like Portland, where the politics and the activism, it's so strong that now they have to have a target. And the perfect opportunity for them to pivot out of a failed defund the police movement is to now focus on security. That's why I have this channel. That's why I talk to you guys. That's why I bring this information to you, because it does affect all of us. Where one state goes, other states will go. Where multiple states goes, ultimately the country could go. We have to take our job and our profession seriously and understand that each one of our own individual actions could lead to something detrimental for our entire career. And guys, look, I don't know about you. Some of you might be doing this as a job, a side hustle. Maybe it's just something that you're doing for the time being. But for a lot of us, this is our career. This is how we feed our family, how we pay our bills. It's not as easy as just leaving what we're doing and going and finding another job. If that's the situation that you're in, I get that. Great for you. But for those of you who truly take this seriously, and want this to be your career, we have got to button down on a lot of this overreacting by our security guards. That is what leads to the negative view, the negative stereotypes of our industry. The same way that people are expecting other cops to hold cops accountable, we as security guards have to do that same thing. And we have to call on these younger officers, these new officers. We have to do our best to lead by example and train up and try and rein some of this stuff in. Let's get to number 3. Number 3 is going to be more for company owners, right? And that's going to be undercutting, lowballing. I get it. I have owned 3 businesses of my own. And I know when you first start out, the one thing that you want is that first contract. You want to get your foot in the door. You're proud of yourself. You believe in your product. You believe in your company. But what you can't do, guys, is go out there and lowball and undercut the industry. We have enough of that with these big box organizations. But these fly-by-night, new, small startup security companies that are working in bars and strip clubs, and you're taking contracts for an open beer tab and a couple of free lap dances, that messes up the entire industry for everyone. I put a post up on my page where I was asking about pay. If people felt comfortable with what they were being paid, if they felt like they were being appreciated for what they're doing. Part of the reason why we're getting contracts where you're making $10, $12, $15, $16 an hour is because so many companies are undercutting the other company that's out there. I know you want that job. I know you want that contract. I know you want to get your foot in the door. But if you value yourself, if you value your employees, if you value your time, you can't give it away. You can't give it away, guys. You have to value yourself more than a couple of lap dances, a couple of beers, free entrance to the rodeo. You've got to charge what you should be charging at a rate that is commensurate with the entire industry across the board. We don't have a union. We don't have any sort of situation in terms of everyone working together, but an idea of not allowing yourself to lowball your company or lowball your services, again, would do wonders for the entire industry. Again, we cannot control these big box organizations, but on an individual scale, on a private business front, we can make sure that we're charging an adequate price for our services. That way we're able to pay an adequate fee to our officers. Let's go to number two. Number two is kind of like number four, and it's just doing too much. All of us, no matter what your post is, where you're working, who you're working for, you have, or at least you should, have post orders. Those post orders are written by the contractor, by the owner. They're generally run by an attorney. And this is a set of rules and regulations by which the officers are going to operate. You shouldn't be operating outside of that one single bit. And let me tell you why, guys. It's not just about liability. I know I talk about liability a lot on my page. It's not just about liability. If you're a business owner and you're saying, I'm going to provide an officer that's going to do X, Y, and Z for this fee, and then that officer does A, B, and C, you're not being compensated for that as a business owner. That's a service that company should be being paid for by the person that is facilitating that contract. Does that make sense? More so than just the liability issue, it's about the services that are provided should be paid for. And you as an officer should not be giving out free services that your company is not getting compensated for. And furthermore, you're not getting compensated for, on top of the liability issue. You have to stay in your lane. There are so many opportunities in security to work armed, to work executive protection, to work overseas, to work high threat, whatever you want. There are opportunities out there, and if you don't know how to find those, we can point you in the right direction. But whatever it is that you're doing, stay within the lane, stay within the scope of what it is you've been hired to do. Not only is that what's best for the company, what's best for the contract, what's been agreed upon, but it's also going to lower the liability for you, lower the liability for your companies, and it's going to make sure that the people that are providing the service are being paid for what they are providing. Okay. The last thing, and the most important thing, guys, this is what we have to stop doing. Complaining. All over YouTube, there's videos up. What do cops think about security guards? All over YouTube. Are security guards respected? Is security law enforcement? Is security this? Is security that? Guys, you have to stop looking for validation. You are what you think you are. Do you think you're worthy of respect? Do you think you're worth 6 figures? Do you think that you're worth a position where you're, treated a certain way and given a certain amount of responsibility? You are what you think you are. It's not up to anybody else to validate you. It's not up to anybody else to facilitate what you think you're worth financially. If you think that you're being underpaid, get a different position. If you don't feel like you're being respected by your boss or by the company that you're working for, switch. If you're not happy with those companies and there's no other place for you to go, start your own. The opportunity for you to do whatever you want within security is so vast. Guys, listen, if you're a law enforcement officer, if you're a cop, it takes 6 months. You've got to go through FTO. You've got to follow all of this bureaucracy, play the politics, all this bullshit. As a security guard in almost every state, you put your 40 hours in, you get your guard card. You put another couple of hours in, you get your arms license. If you want to go and do run your own company, you get your executive license. We're talking about, less than a month's worth of effort. And you can be up and running with your own company armed. And the world is your oyster, depending on what you want to do, how you want to do it. The opportunities for you to do whatever it is in the way that you want and be successful are there. Too many of you are worried about what someone else thinks, what someone else wants to pay you, what someone else thinks about what you're doing and whether or not it's worthy or whether or not it's fulfilling. It's not up to anybody else, guys. It's up to us. And you can do it. But you have to be comfortable in your own skin, confident in what you're doing, and appreciate yourself enough to not undercut or undersell yourself. Guys, I believe in you. I started this industry 2 years ago. Less than 2 years ago. I made over 6 figures last year. I purchased a house this year in the first 2 months of the year, assuming that it was going to take me the rest of the year to do it. I did it, and you can do it. But it's all about how you carry yourself, how you view yourself, and what you want from yourself. The opportunity is there, guys. Those are my 5 things that we have to stop doing in 2022 and beyond. And guys, listen, I appreciate you and I respect you. But I want you guys to grab your fucking balls and I want you to go out there and I want you to be fucking great because you can do it. Watch your 6. Be great.